Okay. So let's start with the first question. It's just a simple subtraction problem. It is, I think, easier if you guys change it to an addition problem because it helps you see if you're adding two positives or you're adding two negatives or a negative and a positive. So the first one is 74 minus negative 64. So I'm going to change this. We're going to add, right? We're going to change to an addition problem and add the additive inverse of negative 64 and the opposite of, or the additive inverse of negative 64 is just 64. Then you add those two, you get 138. So again, I think it's easier for you to look at these two numbers in this manner, right, as an addition, right? Um, they're both positive, so you add them up. Positive is a positive. You just know that they're it's going to be more positives, right? Further down to the right on the number line. If you think in terms of friendlies, they're both friendlies, right? And you just got a bigger group of friendlies. Circle all the situations that result in a value of 0. So if you go up on the 24th floors and then you go down 27 floors, are you on the ground floor? No, so that doesn't work out. The temperature is 8 and then increases by 9. So if you're at 8 and increases by 9, you're going to be at 17. It's not going to result in 0. Getting 80% on the test and doing test corrections to get half of the points back. That sounds familiar, but no, that would not give you a 0. And then spending 4,500 on renovating the bathroom, and then winning 4,500 on lotto tickets. So you spent 4,500 to renovate, and then you won 4,500. So yes, you end up at 0 because to renovate you probably got a little loan or you borrowed money from your parents, but um, always well because you end up winning 4,500 on a lotto ticket. But actually, that should also be an. It's yes as far as we're concerned, but it truly should be a no because you got to pay taxes on 4,500, so you don't really get all that cash. But for our intents and purposes, the last one is the correct answer. Put the following integers in order from least to greatest. So the easiest way is to put them on a number line, right? So I think that's the easiest way. So if that's 0, that's 0. Let me do. That's about 12. We can do the positive. There's only one 12. Negative 5. As you go on 1, negative 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, negative 20, negative 30, negative 38 would be about here. Negative 39 is right next to it, and negative 40. Well, there's your order right here. Negative 40, negative 39, negative 38, negative 5, and then 12. And 12 being the greatest. Careful, because I heard some people say today it's the greatest number is the one closest to 0. Not true. It's the one furthest to the right on a number line. Not closer to 0, but whoever is on the right side. In this case, this is the the furthest number on the right. Just like negative 5, if 12 wasn't here and 0 wasn't here, negative 5 would be the greatest number because it's further on the right. Not because it's closer to 0, but because it's furthest to the right? Because that's, as you go right, the value increases. Negative 15 is greater than which of the sums? Well, you're going to have to find out. What's negative 34 plus 12? Well, there's more negatives, so it's going to be negative 18, right? Negative 8 minus 7. I'm going to change that. So again, I'm going to change that. I'm going to just do it over here. Negative 8 minus 7 becomes negative 8 plus, right? And then negative 7. Much easier for me to look at this. Oh, I understand now that there's two negatives, so it's just going to be a negative number towards more to the left of the number line, right? So in other words, two friendlies here. Who's going to win? So it's just going to be negative 15. Negative 24 minus 31, likewise, I'm going to change that to an addition problem. So you get negative 24 plus negative 31. Again, we're going to go even further out on the left of the number line. So it's going to be more towards the left, or they're both negative. So a bunch of friendlies getting together. And we're going to get negative 55. And the last one, again, is more negatives being added together. So negative 7 plus negative 9 is just negative 16. So the question is, negative 15, this guy right here, is greater than which of these guys? Well, if that gets you a little bit confused, take the time. You're going to have plenty of time. Take the time to put these numbers on the right, we don't need any positives, so I'm going to stick 0 way to the right. And I'm going to start with negative 15. So negative 0, 0, sorry. 5, 10, negative 15 is about here. That's my number. I'll put negative 16 is right next to it. Okay. And then negative 18 is a little bit over here. And then negative 55 is somewhere. Yeah, I mean, it's not to scale, but it's all the way on the left side. And then I'm asking you, this number right here, negative 15, this number right here, is greater than which of these numbers? Well, it's not greater than negative 15, but it's definitely greater than negative 16, it's greater than negative 18, and it's greater than negative 55, because it's more towards the right on the number, right? So it's greater than this one, it's greater than the third one, and it's greater than the fourth one. And as far as the second one, it's a tie, right? Because they're both negative 15. What integers, when divided, gives you a positive? So I'm dividing two integers, and I want to get a positive answer. So the only way that I can get that is if both are positive, or both numbers I'm dividing are negative, right? That's also going to give me a positive answer. So negative divided by negative also be positive. Find the difference. Again, negative 29 minus negative 17. I think it's easier. And again, negative 29, right? First addend stays the same. We're going to change this to addition, and we're going to add the additive inverse of negative 17, which is 17. Now I can clearly tell I'm adding a negative number plus a positive number. I know I'm going to have to subtract, right? And keep the sign of whoever is the bigger number. In this case, the bigger number is the great absolute value, and the bigger number is negative 29. And so you can speak like that, or you can just say, hey, who has more, right? They're not friends. Negative 29 and positive 17, they're going to have a little problem here. So the negatives are going to win. And why? Because they have more. How many more? Well, in order to find out how many more, subtract the numbers. And because they have 12 more little soldiers in that team, right? So they end up winning. 7. Which of the expression has the least value? So I'm going to actually have to work it out. Negative 2 plus negative 23, that's easy. They're both negatives, so it's just negative 25. Let me do the easy ones. Negative 17 plus negative 33 is negative 50, right? Our friends here. 33 plus 62, negative 62. So the negatives are going to win. Wins are going to win because they have, I believe, 29 more. And 21 minus 56. I'm going to change that to an addition. It's going to become 21 plus negative 56. The negatives are going to win because they have more. How many more? It's going to be negative 25 more. So I'm going to now look at these four numbers. And I want the one that has the smallest value. The number with the smallest value is the number that's all the way to the left on the number line, or more to the left. So if you put these four numbers on the number line, here's 0, 5, 10, 15, 20. Here's negative 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Just again, ballparking this. And we have one more number, negative 50 should be about here. So which one's furthest towards the left? It's this guy right here. But that has the smallest value. Sam lost $25, lost $9, lost $30. Represent situation as a sum. So I want to represent this as a sum. So there. Make it better. So write an expression using addition. So negative 25 means, well, if you lose 25, let's represent that as negative, the integer negative 25, plus lost $10, that represented by negative 9, right, because it's a loss. And then plus again, and we're going to represent $30 as negative 30. So this is what happened to Sam. Lost 3 times. So we represent the situation as a arithmetic sum, and now we're going to find the value. So if you lose all that money throughout the day, how much would it be in the total? Well, you can add these two, negative 34, so the total should be negative 64. So, I love all these spam calls that we get. Alright, next one, write the decimal equivalent. Ooh, I also saw some of you guys here today not too good on this one. So it's a fraction, right? So 7 over 15, this is division. This is the same thing as saying 7 divided by 15. You have $7 in one divided among 15 friends. So they're not going to get much. They're definitely getting less than $7, so they're gonna get 0 point something, right? Because it's obviously a very there's more people. The denominators it's bigger. So remember, who goes inside? It's the numerator, and we start dividing. 15 does not go into 7. Yeah, seconds. Why does this all sound familiar? Okay, this is right. So we add a decimal. Excuse me. Right. 15 goes into 74 times 60, right? Subtract, you get 10 left over. We're going to bring a 0 down. 15 goes into 107, 6 times, I'm going to say, which is a 90. 10 left over, we're going to bring another 0 down, and you can tell that's going to be 6 again. 90, and so forth and so forth. So it's going to be 0.46666666, whatever and ever, but we're going to write that as 0.46, and the repeating number is 6. We put a little bar notation, and that's what I'd like to see. Okay, so next one, divide negative 85 by 5. If you like, you can rewrite this problem like this if it makes it easier for you to see it. It's a negative divided by positive, so I know it's negative, and 85 divided by 5 is 1. It looks like 17, but negative 17, right? So again, this you already knew how to do. You just have to now worry about whether you have to put a negative sign next to a number. Okay, so the division you already knew how to do, so we just added a little extra component, which is knowing what do you call the rules of division and the rules of integers when dividing or multiplying. Right? Next one, so it's 9 to the second power, negative 9 minus 2 times negative 8 plus 3. So we're doing exponents, so this means negative 9 times negative 9. Remember, everybody in the parentheses being raised to the second power. So it's a negative times a negative, which is a positive, and 9 times 9 is 81. So that becomes 81 minus 2 times, and in parentheses we have negative 8 plus 3. Well, who's going to win? Well, the negatives are going to win because there's more, so it's negative. How many more? They have 5 more. Okay, next we're going to move to 81 minus, right? So let me underline, we're going to take care of this right here. That's a subtraction sign. So 2 times negative 5, it's going to be, all right, negative 10, right? And now I'm ready to subtract, but because it's a subtraction here, and I much rather see it as an addition, I'm going to change this, and I'm going to make this into 81 plus, and the additive inverse of negative 10 is 10. So now it's clearly 81 plus 10, and you already knew how to do that, and that would be 91. Okay. Which one has the greatest value? So negative 6 times 3 is negative 18. Negative 36 divided by 2 is negative 18 again. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. And the last one, negative 48 divided by 12 is negative 4. So which one has the greatest value? Well, all these 4 numbers, which one is furthest to the right? Which would be this guy. So that's the one that's the greatest value. 13, negative 5 times 6 divided by negative 10. Order of operation tells us we have to do whichever one between division and multiplication, whichever one comes first from left to right. So we're going to take care of these two first. Right here. Negative 5 times 6 is a negative, and 5 times 6 is 30. I'm going to now divide that by negative 10. So negative divided by negative, and that's going to give me a positive, and 30 divided by 10 is just 3. Okay, so this one has a little bit of absolute value inside. So which expression can you use to find the change in elevation if you're going from 12 feet underwater to the top of the building that's 245 feet above water? So I like the drawing. So here's the water, and here's something. You're negative 12 feet underwater means you're at negative 12. And you're going to go all the way to the top of this mountain or building, which is 245 feet. Let me rewrite it again. 245. You want the distance, right? So just by looking at it, and if you were to do this, I know that from negative 12 underwater to the surface of the water, this portion here is 12 feet. I know from the surface of the water to the top of the building is 245. If I were to add those two, I get 257. So I'm looking for an expression that's going to give me 257. Anything that's and you know it's going to be positive because we're measuring distance, right? So anything that gives me a negative answer, you can even disregard it without doing anything. So if you look at the first one, negative 12 minus 12, negative 245, that's going to give me a negative answer. I know that's not going to work. Second one, absolute value of negative 12 is 12 minus 245. And again, if you look at this is going to give me a negative answer, right? Because I have $12 and somebody's going to take $245 away from me. Yeah, it's not going to happen. I'm going to be in negative, right? So this also, even without doing the rest, it's already gone. So it's between these two. Now, let's do, well, again, we can eliminate this one too. It's negative 12 minus the absolute value of negative 245 is 245. And this becomes a subtraction problem. Negative 12 plus negative 245. And you can tell that's going to give me a negative answer, right? Because they're both friends. So this is also garbage. But the only one that's left is this. Unless your teacher made a mistake, that should be your answer. So process of elimination, using already what you know. And I knew that the answer had to be a positive number because we're measuring distance here. So anything that was negative, I could already throw out. So in here, well, let's do inside the absolute value. That's not a parenthesis, it's an absolute value. So I have negative 12 minus 245. So that changes to negative 12 plus negative 245. And that gives me negative 257. But you're going to say that's a negative number, but don't forget that we have an absolute value. So that's still inside the absolute value. Now I've got to take the absolute value of negative 257, which is positive 257, right? Remember, absolute value measure the distance that you are away from 0, and negative 257 is 257 units from 0, so that's why it's positive. And because that's positive, that's the answer that I want. A skier descends at a rate of 6 feet per second. What is the change in elevation after 1 minute? So, some mountain, there's a skier right there, right? There's a skier. It's like a surfboard, but here's a skier, and he's going to be going down the slope, right, down this mountain. So every second he goes 6 feet. He's going to be 6 feet. He travels 6 feet, another second, another 6 feet, and stuff, etc. After 1 minute, well, in 1 minute has 60 seconds, so I'm going to multiply 60 seconds times 6, and that's going to give me a distance of 360 seconds. So the change in elevation, well, it means that after 1 full minute, this guy is going to be 360 minus 360 from wherever he started. Okay, so wherever he started, take away 360, and that's going to be his new elevation. Mr. Cho owes the bank. I'm always owing money, 120, so that let me write it like this. I then borrow more money, yay, to buy 12 coffees at 125 each for all the math teachers. Why would I ever do that? Because I'm very kind. So I'm already owing this much, and I borrow more money. So let me see how much I borrowed. So 1.25 times 12. That's going to be 0, 10, 1, 5. I actually borrowed $25. Is that right? Yeah, so. No, this doesn't look right. 10, 5, 1, 2. Well, looks like it's right. So I borrowed $25, $25. So let me plus another $25, right? So it means that at the end of the day, I am at negative 145. Yes. Should I make money instead of lose money every day? Okay, find a change in temperature. Okay, careful here. Again, draw out a thermometer just to give you an idea. So the starting temperature, here's 0, was negative 12. And the final temperature was over here at 13. If you remember, so again, I'm going to write start here. I'm going to write final. If you remember that to find the change is final minus start, that's great. So final is 13 minus, what did I begin with? Negative 12. If I actually do this, it becomes 13 plus 12, and it becomes 25. So the change in temperature was 25 degrees Celsius. And that makes sense. Again, I should have done the picture before, but from negative 12, so we're traveling up this way, right? So the temperature went up from negative 12 to 0. Right here, this stretch, I know it's 12 degrees. From 0 to 13, it's another 13 degrees that the temperature travels. So 12 plus 13 is 25. So this matches my picture, matches my little equation here. Okay, and the change in temperature was positive because it went up. 17, 18, 17, 18. Death Valley, again, another, what do you call it, distance problem. So Death Valley, why do I feel like I did this? Death Valley is located at 286, so here's the valley. 286 negative, just assume this is the water, below sea level, so all the way down here is negative 286. And then the top of the mountain, it's 5,725. So the peak of the mountain is right here, so, and the bottom. So I want this distance here, the distance from here all the way up here. So I'm asking you, how much is that distance? Well, you can do it in two parts. You can ask yourself, hey, from the bottom of Death Valley to go to the surface of the water here, to be at sea level, I would travel from here to here, right? And that is, the distance there is 286 feet. From the sea level, from 0 here, right, to the top of the mountain, I know that this part here is 5,725. So if I add those two distances, 5,725 plus 286, I'm going to get 1, 1, 10, 6, 6,011, unless my math isn't good, feet. That's the distance between Death Valley, if you're at the bottom, and you have to go all the way up to the top. On a straight line, it would be 6,011 feet. 19, Carlo is playing a game. His character had an energy of 3,000. Over the next 15 seconds, he was attacked by a large group of monsters and his energy level dropped to 0. What was the change in energy level every second? So, assuming that it was consistent, you know, the drop in energy. So, 3,000 divided by 15, that's going to give us, 15 seconds, going to give us how much energy he lost per second. 3,000 divided by 15 is going to be 200. So 200 energy points per second, right? And that's my per. Every second we lost 200. Okay, so it's minus 200 energy points per second. So that was not that difficult. Which one has the least value? Well, if you want to find the least value, you got to actually really have to find do some calculations here. Let's do this one. Absolute value, so let's not take the absolute value until I find some. Remember, that 2 here, it's only affecting the 5, so that minus sign, it plays no role right now. It's just hanging out, waiting for you to find out what 5 squared is. And 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25. So in other words, it's not negative 5 times negative 5, it's just 5 times 5. So that minus sign did not play a role when the exponent was, when the base 5 was taken to the second power. Minus 16 divided by negative 4. And again, I'm going to take my time here. So what do I have to do first? Well, I have to do this part first. Right, so it's got negative 25 minus, and 16 divided by negative 4 is going to be a negative number. And 16 divided by 4 is 4. I will now subtract, right? But I'm going to change that to addition. It's going to be negative 25. Change that to plus, and change that to the additive inverse, which is 4. Negative 25 plus 4, there's more negatives, so it's going to be negative 19. And the absolute value of negative 19 is 19. So that one is 19. The second problem. Now, this one's a little bit different. So it's negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. Okay, so the negative sign there definitely plays a role. Right? So it's negative 3 times negative 3, which is positive 9. Positive 9 times negative 3, that's going to give me negative 27. Minus 2. Okay, so let me just rewrite this again because it's 2 absolute values. I just couldn't see it properly. If I use my glasses. Alright, so this first one is going to give us negative 27 minus 2. On the second absolute value, let's do 24 divided by 2 squared, which is 4. So I took care of the exponents. Let's do this guy right here. So negative 27, And again, I'm more comfortable looking at it this way. Negative 27, subtraction becomes addition, and then 2 becomes negative 2. And negative 27 plus negative 2, they're both friendly, so it gives me negative 29. And the absolute value of negative 29 is just 29. Minus, on the other side, I have absolute value of 24 divided by 4. 24 divided by 4 is 6. What's the absolute value of 6? It's just 6. And then 29 minus 6 gives me 23. So that whole second part is 23. I want the least value, so this one is winning so far. Last one. So again, the minus sign plays no role. It's 4 to the second power, which is 16. Minus, and this is taking everybody inside the parentheses to the second power. So it's negative 4 times negative 4, which is going to give me positive 16. Change to addition. So again, negative 16 plus negative 16, and that's going to give me negative 32. Right? So they're both negatives. So we're just going further to the left of the number line, or they're both friendlies, and just get more negatives here. So the smallest number ends up being that one. Change the fractions to decimals. Yeah. Oh no. Okay, I can do that. So get a little practice here. 5 over 14, so it's 5 divided by 14. Doesn't matter the magnitude, the size of the number. You know, it's a numerator that always goes inside. 14 does not go into 5. So that is 0 here. 0 decimal. 14 goes into 53 times, which is 42. 8 left over. Bring another 0 down. 14 goes into 86 times. No, 5 times, which is going to give me 70. 10 left over, bring another 0 down. 14 goes to 106 times, no, 9, 6, 7, 28, yeah. 7 times, which is 28 to 98. We're going to have 2 left over, bring a 0 down. Oh my god. And that's going to be 1. Let's continue. Well, definitely look at your multiple choice when you're doing the test. Maybe they round it. You know, it depends. So you continue. Watch your multiple choice. Okay, so if all your multiple choice says 0.36, another one says 0.35, and the other one says 0.34, the other one says 0.32. So let's assume this was your multiple choice. You don't really have to go too much here, all right? Unless it was a repeating or one of them had a little bar, but in this case it's not. So right now, if this was my multiple choice, choices, I would have stopped. And I obviously know that 0.357 rounds up, right? Because they're all round to the nearest 100, so I cut it off right here. And the 7 definitely powers that up to 0.36. So my multiple choice answer would have been 0. That's what I would have done on the test. So definitely look at your multiple choice. But because we don't have a multiple choice, let's just see if I can go a little bit further. So 6 left over. Bring another 0 down. 14 goes into 60 3 times, 4 times, 64. No, it's 3 times. So again, that 3 there, it's indicating now that 3 is 42. Forget what I said. 3, 42, 4. No, you can go 4 times, sorry, which is 56. 4 left over, 40. Now into 40 it goes 2 times, 3 times, 42, 2 times. Okay, so we're gonna stop. Okay, so on the test, you probably see multiple choice rounded to a certain number, to the nearest hundreds or near thousands. Okay, so definitely don't have to go that far. But so that one I would just say 0 point rounded to the nearest hundred, 0.36. 1b, sorry. So no, 1 is 1 divided by 8. Again, it doesn't go into 1, so that's added 0. It goes into 10 one time, 20. 8 goes into 22 times, which is 16. 4 left over, and another 0 down, and 8 goes into 45 times. So this one's nice and easy. 0.125 for letter B. Letter C, it's 11 divided by 20. 20 does not go into 11, so add a 0. Decimal. 20 goes into 110 5 times, which is 100. 10 left over, we're going to bring a 0 down, and 20 goes into 100 5 times again, which is 100. And C is 0.55. The terminating decimal, nice and pretty. Last one, 12 divided by 25, 0. Well, 25 does not go into 12, so we added a 0. 25 goes into 124 times, which is 100. 20 left over, bring a 0 down, and 25 goes into 208 times, which is 200. So 12 over 25 is 0.48. So another way of looking at it is maybe you had a test or something worth 25 points and you got 12 points. That means you got 0.48, or eventually if you change it to percent, 48%. Evaluate each expression. So, okay, I can do this. So letter A, again, it's, be careful that over here is the 3 that's being raised to the third power, not the minus 3. Okay, so we're going to go, so the minus, I'm just going to put the minus sign right there. And now I'm going to go 3 to the third power, which is 27. 3 times 3 times 3. Minus, inside, it's 12 minus 22, but I'm going to rewrite this as 12 plus negative 22. Right, that's subtraction, I changed to addition. And then minus, and then here is everybody inside the parentheses to the third power. So it's negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3, which is going to become negative 27. Negative 20 minus 27 minus, and inside here, the absolute value brackets here, I got 12 plus negative 22. Who's going to win? These guys are going to win, and that's going to be negative 10 minus negative 27. So I'm not doing much of anything except work on the absolute value, the brackets inside the absolute value. Negative 27 minus the absolute value of negative 10 is 10, and then minus negative 27. So now I just have a very easy subtraction problem. So let's do these two first, up to here. Negative 27 minus 10 becomes negative 27 plus negative 10. They're both friends, and that gives me negative 37, right? So that whole thing I'm going to replace with negative 37, and then I'm going to add the minus 27. This becomes negative 37 plus, right? And the additive inverse of negative 27 is 27. And this becomes a very easy negative 10 because there are more negatives, right? So my answer is negative 10. So the first one, letter A, is negative 10. B, okay, do it in steps. I'm going to do the exponent here. So it's negative 12 minus 4. And let me take negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. So there's 4 negatives, and that's all it's going to give me is a positive answer, first of all. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 2, 4, 8 is going to be 16. So I'm going to replace this part here with 16. I'm going to replace times 16 and plus 4 times negative 11. Order of operations, we're going to do, well, we did the exponents, and now we do multiplication and division. So this stays, I can do 4 times 16, which is 64. Plus, and then this says 4 times negative 11, which is negative 44. Now I can do my subtraction or addition from left to right. So let's take care of these two guys over here. So that becomes negative 12 plus negative 64, right? And two negatives, I'm going to get a negative answer, right? Because they're both friendly, and that's going to give me negative 76. Plus that negative 44, which I can just bring it down, right? So now I have a negative plus another negative, so it's just all friends. So the answer is going to be negative, and that's going to give me 120. So negative 120. Last one is within inside the absolute value, right? So we take that last. We got 12 absolute value minus 8 divided by 2 to the third is 8. 2 times 2 times 2. Absolute value 12 minus, and 8 divided by 8 is 1. Absolute value has not been taken care of yet, so 12 minus 1 is 11. So it says that here, take the absolute value of 11, which is just simply 11. 23, determine if it's true, sometimes true, false, or sometimes true. An integer raised to an even power will always be positive. Integer raised to an even power will always be positive. Well, if I take a 5, the positive number, and I raise it to an even power, like a 2, a 4, 6, or 8. So that's going to be positive. If I take negative 5 and raise it to the positive, what do you call an even power, that's going to be negative 5 times negative 5, right? So negative times negative is a positive, and 5 times 5 is 25. So it seems to work, and you can try it out with maybe smaller numbers. Let's say 2 to the 4th and negative 2 to the 4th. Both of the answers come out positive. 2, 4, 8, 16. This becomes positive. This becomes positive. So work it out. Try it out. And if it works, it's true. A negative minus negative is sometimes negative. So let me pick a negative. Negative 3 minus negative 7. Negative 3 plus 7 becomes negative 4. That didn't work there. Let me pick a negative 3 minus, and let's not go high as 7. Let's go negative 1. So let me subtract a negative number. Negative 3 minus a negative minus a negative. Let's see if that gives me a negative answer. So this becomes negative 3 plus, and the opposite or the additive inverse of negative 1 is just 1. And negative 3 plus 1 becomes, well, there's more negatives. It becomes negative 2. This one should have been positive, by the way. So I did get a negative answer, whereas in the previous example, I got a positive answer. So sometimes it's negative. Well, yeah, sometimes, not all the time. So that's also true. On the number line, the number on the left, so let me pick a 0. Let me pick two numbers, 3 and 5. The number on the left always has a greater value. Well, if I pick between 0 and 3, 0 is on the left. Is that greater? Let's try 3 and 5. Which one's on the left side? 3 is. Is that greater? No. So this one is false. And you already knew that because you know that the number on the right is obviously bigger. I would very much ask you to pay attention to the last 3 questions, because that probably will be on your part 2. And I have not given you your bonus word. So your bonus word is actually going to be this. It's a program, a photography program that is in school in the spring. And it's a nice company. They come and do photography for you guys and provide all the equipment, and they really do a good job. And the name of the program is Magic Box. So that's your bonus word for your first test. Okay, Magic Box. So on Saturday, the temperature was 10 degrees at 5 in the morning. So let me just do a number line. So 5 a.m. it's 10 degrees, so which is about here, 10 degrees Celsius. By 6 a.m., there was a change of temperature of -8. So it means that by 6, this guy dropped 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So think about what that means. So if at 6 a.m. it drops by -8, it went down. And I know it went down because it's represented by -8. So if you're at 10 and you drop 8, where are you now? I am right now at 2 degrees Celsius at 6 a.m. By 9 a.m., it says that it dropped another 5. So I was at 2, and I'm going to drop 5 more. So 5, that's 2. Let me drop 5. 2, 1. I'm just going to make some lines here. I'll drop 5 degrees here. So I'm at 2. I'm going to drop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's -2, -1, 0, 1, -1. Sorry, that's +1, 0, -1, -2, -3. So at 9 a.m., where am I? The temperature is now -3 degrees. Okay, so right here, -3 degrees Celsius. And then at 12 p.m., the temperature went up. Oh, thank God, because it was getting cold. So at 9 a.m., you're at -3. So if you're at -3 at 9 a.m., and it says that the temperature went up by 3. So if you're -3 and you go up 3, where will you be now? You will now be at 0 degrees. So what was the temperature at 12? 0 degrees. So it's nice if you add charts, or you could have also done it this way. So at 10 a.m., so you start here, right? 10 degrees Celsius. Plus, what happens then? You drop 8. Plus, you drop another -5. Plus, you go up by 3. So you could have used this expression also to find 0, hopefully. 10 plus negative 8 is negative 2, so let's do that. 10 plus negative 8 is negative 2. And then up to that, you're going to add, sorry, not negative 2. 10 plus negative 8 is positive 2. Sorry. Then I'm going to add plus negative 5, and then plus 3. Negative 2, sorry, 2 plus negative 5. There's more negatives, so the answer is going to be negative 3, right? And then to that, I'm finally going to add 3. And negative 3 plus 3 equals 0. So either if you do it this way, or if you do it like a little diagram here, either way, it gets you the answer of 0 degrees. Okay. 25. Okay. So again, 24, hint, hint, 25, 26. Those nice. Okay, so just make sure you know how to do those questions. In Belize, the temperature rises very fast throughout the day. From 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., the temperature rises by 4 degrees Celsius each hour. By 10 a.m., the temperature is an unbearable 38 degrees. I've been to Belize. It's super hot. Super nice. So, maybe I'll draw it this way. Okay. So this is 6 a.m. and this is 10 a.m. I'm going to make it 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m. So, and I know the temperature at 10 a.m. is going to finally be 38 degrees Celsius, right? So what is the temperature at 6 a.m.? Well, it grew by 4, so this went by 4, by 4, by 4, by 4. So if you think about it, plus 4, plus 4, plus 4, and then plus 4. Right? 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. went plus 4, plus 4, plus 4, plus 4. And finally at 10 a.m. is what you call 38 degrees Celsius. So you can work backwards, right? So 38 minus 4 is 34. 34 minus 4 is 30. 30 minus 4 is 26. And 26 minus 4 is 22, which means that you started at 22 degrees Celsius when you woke up at 6 a.m. So 22, let's go, and then you can work this way. 22 plus 4 is 26, 30, 34, 38. And guess what? It worked. Okay, so you can show it that way. Okay, you can use a table if you like. Okay, so you can write the time, 6 to 7, 7 to 8. So okay, you can write here 6 to 7 a.m., 7 a.m. to 8, 8 a.m. to 9, 9 a.m. to 10. Okay, it's plus 4, plus 4, plus 4, plus 4, plus 4. Sorry, this should be plus 4, plus 4, plus 4. And at the end of 10 a.m., you get that it's 38 degrees. So what was the starting temperature here, right? So again, you know that plus 4, plus 4, plus 4, plus 4, it means that it went up by 20. No, by 16. Oh my God, what am I doing? Sorry. Right? So 38 degrees was your final. The change here, right? The change was 16. You know it's positive. This is your final. And you're looking for your starting temperature, right? Okay, so just try to make it less messy than I did here on your test, please. Okay, in North Dakota, the temperature, so it's almost the same question. In North Dakota, the temperature drops very fast throughout the day. Again, from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., the temperature drops by 5 each hour. By 10 a.m., the temperature is non-zero, so it's super cold. So you can use a number line. Okay, here's negative 27, and that's 10 a.m. Let me put that a little bit to the right. So I like diagrams. 10 a.m., 9 a.m., 8 a.m., 7 a.m., 6 a.m. So, and we don't know the temperature here, right? So we're looking at the temperature. So it was already cold, but it dropped even more. Okay, and how much did it drop each out? So here it's -5, it went down by 5, went down by 5, went down by 5, and again it went down by 5. So if you think about it, if you add up all the 5s, you notice that there was a drop of -20. So from the starting temperature, whatever that was, it dropped 20, and then it became -27. So this is your change. Think about, right? The changing temperature from 6 a.m., 10 a.m. is -20. So it went down. Your final is -27. So you're looking for your start, right? So how do we find our start? Our starting temperature is our final minus the change, right? If you follow that, like we did the other day, so the final temperature was -27, I'll put it in parentheses, minus, and the change was -20, right? That's how you would write it. And you go -27, change that to an addition, plus 20. Which means, well, there are more negatives, not too many more, but there are more negatives. And that gives you -7. So that means at 6 a.m., the starting temperature was -7. Already super cold. And it dropped 20, right? Went down by 20, and you ended up at -27 at 10 a.m. Okay? Okay, so I think that's it. Please. It's not a difficult test at all, but you do have to know your operations and be comfortable with that. Okay, so hopefully you get to watch this and check your answers and make sure that you're doing everything okay. All right, and that's it.